there's a man named Jim Rubens running for Senate in New Hampshire. And now, I think that he should beat his opponent. Let me make note that he is a Republican. And he is a Republican that I disagree with on many, many issues. Now, who's his opponent? Why do I want him to win? Kelly Ayotte is his opponent. She's the current Republican senator, but that's not why I'm rooting for Jim Rubens or rooting against Kelly Ayotte. It's because she is a classic corporatist Republican. It's corporatist Democrats, corporatist Republicans. They just take their donor money and they do whatever the donors tell them to do. I mean, there isn't almost any better example than Kelly Ayotte. Sometimes they call her K Street Kelly to give you a sense of what her proclivities are. Now, there are some things that I agree with Jim Rubens on. He's concerned about Kelly Ayotte's position on endless war, and boy, she's in that, McCain, Lindsey Graham grouping, the nuclear triad, if you will, of people who always want war. They think the answer is perpetual war. I generally agree with Rubens on the drug war, civil liberties, the pork and the military weapons procurement projects, and the donor-controlled Congress. So, hey, look, there's how us reaching across aisles, Republicans, progressives, agreeing on some issues. But again, there are many, many issues I really disagree with him on. So why am I telling you all this? Because here's a guy who actually cares about election reform. And that's what I'm looking for. Honest actors. And I would much rather have Jim Rubens be a senator from New Hampshire, and for me to disagree with him more on some issues, heck, who says heck? Anyway, on most issues, and yet still have him in there as long as he's an honest actor and not one of these corrupt politicians. And Rubens has worked on election reform. He believes that we should have a convention to propose amendments on election reform. And by the way, on election reform, we might not also agree on which specific policies or amendments we should propose. There's nothing wrong with that. That's America. That's what I want to get back to, a democracy where we actually have debates back and forth on these issues. But the only way to do that is to get election reform. Otherwise, we're going to continue to have senators like Kelly Ayotte who are completely controlled by their donors and are not responsive to their citizens, whether they're Republicans or the entire state of New Hampshire. So, and look, they've got a unique strategy over there too, because Rubens is running against her in the Republican primary, and then there's a third-party candidate who says if Rubens wins, he's a real conservative, meaning he's conservative on the issues, but he's also real and not controlled by the donors. So he will not enter the race if Rubens wins the primary. But if Ayotte wins the primary, there will be another conservative that enters the general election, making Ayotte's situation much more difficult. In fact, Ayotte's now losing to Maggie Hassan by 10 points, according to the polls in New Hampshire. So, boy, she's in a world of trouble. And since she's controlled by her donors, I like that she's in trouble. And I think Jim Rubens is a principled guy, and we need a lot more of those, whether they're Republican or Democrat. Let's get back to democracy. Let's get back to real debates on the principles and on the issues. And that's what you get with Jim Rubens.